Amira was the kind of person who worked hard but never felt like it was enough. At 26, she had a steady job at a marketing firm, but her passion was writing. Her laptop was filled with half-finished manuscripts, all abandoned because she felt they would never measure up. She scrolled through her phone one evening, looking at the lives of people she had grown up with. There was Tasha, the influencer, who had just bought her dream home, and Malik, who was living in Bali, photographing sunsets for travel magazines. Even her cousin, Jasmine, had just landed a feature in a prestigious literary journal. Amira sighed, shutting her laptop. The cursor blinking on her letter story felt like a mockery. Why even bother, she thought. Everyone is already better than me. Every day, Amira's routine was the same. Work, scroll, self-doubt, and repeat. At lunch breaks, her co-workers would talk about their hobbies and achievements, and Amira would stay quiet. She loved writing, but admitting that out loud felt like opening herself up to judgment. One day, her friend Mia noticed her scrolling during lunch. "You're always on your phone, Amira," she said. "What are you looking at?" "Just people," Amira mumbled, putting the phone down. Mia glanced at the screen. "You mean the highlight reels of their lives? You know that's all it is, right? You're comparing your behind the scenes to their best moments." Amira smiled weakly, but the words stuck with her. She spent so much time comparing that she hadn't created anything of her own in weeks. That weekend, Amira decided to clear her mind with a walk through the city. She found herself at a local park where a pop-up art fair was happening. Booths lined the paths, each filled with paintings, sculptures, and crafts. She stopped at one booth where an elderly man was displaying handmade pottery. The pots weren't perfect. Some were slightly misshapen. Others had even glazes. But they were beautiful in their imperfection. "These are lovely," Amira said, picking up a small vase with a loop-sided lip. The man smiled warmly. "Thank you. I've been making this for decades. Each one has its own character, its own story." "But don't you feel pressure to make them perfect?" she asked. He chuckled. "Perfect? No. If I tried to make them like everyone else's, they wouldn't be mine. The imperfections are what make them special." Amira nodded, feeling a flicker of understanding. She thanked the man and continued walking, but his words stayed with her. That night, Amira sat at her desk, staring at her unfinished manuscript. For months, she had tried to write like the authors she admired, mimicking their styles and themes. But now, she thought about the poetry she had seen. What if she wrote something that wasn't perfect, but was uniquely hers? She opened a new document and began to write. This time, she didn't think about what others would say or how her story compared to anyone else's. She wrote about her life, her struggles, her dreams. She wrote with honesty and vulnerability. Hours passed, and for the first time in months, Amira felt a spark of joy. The story wasn't polished, but it was hers. Amira decided to submit her story to a local writing contest. She almost backed out, imagining how much better the other entries would be. But she remembered the potter's words and hit submit before she could change her mind. Weeks later, she received an email. Her story had won an honorable mention. It wasn't first place, but it didn't matter. The feedback from the judges praised her unique voice and raw authenticity. Amira shared the story on her social media, along with a caption about her struggles with comparison. To her surprise, friends and followers flooded her with messages of support. Many admitted they felt the same way, constantly measuring their worth against others. Over time, Amira learned to stop comparing her journey to others. She still admired her peers, but instead of feeling envious, she let their success inspire her. She focused on her own growth, celebrating small wins and embracing the imperfections in her work. At another art fair months later, Amira found the potter's booth again. She showed him the printed version of her story, thanking him for his wisdom. He laughed. "I just make pots, young lady. You did the real work." Amira smiled, realizing how far she had come. For the first time, she felt proud, not of being perfect, but of being herself. The danger of comparison is that it steals your joy and authenticity. When you embrace your unique path, imperfections and all, you'll find a happiness that comparison could never bring.